These promoters do not know what they're talking about. I've heard them talk about, Conor has had to go up in weight, so really he's the one in danger because he's fighting someone who's 160. The person who's 160 is really coming down from 175.
Ben has more psychologically on his side than Eubank does this time. I think that's going to be a difference.
Can't forget how violent, how taxing, and how physically enduring an opportunity for Conor Benn to wipe out that defeat on his record.
Yeah, I want the revenge, man. I want my revenge.
Chris Eubank Sr. has made a shocking prediction ahead of his son's highly anticipated rematch with Conor Benn, warning that the fight could end in disaster if greed takes control of the preparation and decision-making. The boxing legend voiced serious concern for Chris Eubank Jr.'s safety, accusing promoters of putting profit before protection. Eubank Sr. vowed that he won't hesitate to step in if he has to, determined to shield his son from the ruthless business side of the sport. According to him, Eubank Jr. has been misled by promoters who locked him into unfair contract terms designed to exploit his potential for their own gain. He claims they enforced a punishing 160-pound weight limit and a strict rehydration clause to leave his son weakened on fight night, conditions that, in his eyes, were never about health or career longevity, but pure profit.
Overreact. What I'm here to do is protect the uneducated against those, what did my son call them? Scumbuckets? If that's the term he gave to the promoters, he's not wrong. They're treating us like we are meat. They're butchering us. My son he's not going to back down from anything. Why? Two things. One, money. Two, the heart. He's a warrior. I'm afraid of no man. Conor's the same. They both have heart. They both have this desire to keep the family name in the highest of positions. I saw Conor. I always speak of him. And I know that there are people in the comments saying, well, why don't you speak of your son? I know what my son did. My son did the impossible. I'm going to speak on Conor again for a moment. We all saw how brilliant he was in this fight, of which he lost. What couldn't he do at his proper weight, fighting a man of his size? Let me tell you what Junior did. He took away all the sweeties from everyone. They fined him, they blocked him on rehydration, they tricked him on weight. Once you're bringing him down to 160, he's 35 years old. He's a man, he's a big man. He'll do it because he's a warrior, but he shouldn't do it. But he's not going to listen to anyone. If he's not going to listen to me, he's not going to listen to anybody else. So the rematch is, Junior, you have everything, you're rich. Those promoters, they hate you because they can never get close to anything that you do. The analogy I will use, they're looking at you like you're a rocket, you've taken off, all the fuel burners and tanks have fallen back to Earth, and you are now in space. They don't have the oxygen to be in the world you live in. They would do anything to be able to live at that.
The rematch is set for November 15, 2025 at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London. The fight will take place at the middleweight limit of 160 pounds, featuring a 10-pound rehydration clause, the same conditions as their first meeting. Originally planned for September 20, the bout was pushed back to November due to scheduling issues and concerns about both fighters' readiness.
I'm waiting for. That's going to be on November 15th, and that's going to be the instant classic being rematch between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. The bad blood is still there, the rivalry of their fathers. The first fight, we had the egg, we had Eubank Sr., the last-minute arrival, and then we had an unbelievable and unforgettable war. This time, there's no blood lost. They're fighting at the same venue over there in England, and the same contracted weight of 160 pounds with the same rehydration clause of 10 pounds for the day of the fight. So Eubank cannot go over 100.
Eubank Sr. revealed that after his son's first fight with Conor Benn, Chris Eubank Jr. was dangerously dehydrated, noting that he barely even sweat by the end of the bout. He explained that the 160-pound weight limit combined with the strict rehydration clause left his son physically drained to a hazardous level. Eubank Sr. warned that the fight wasn't just risky, it was potentially life-threatening. He insisted that promoters were putting profit above his son's health and vowed to ensure Eubank Jr. would never be put in that position again.
Weight drained, they put a rehydration clause in. They fined him some £500,000 for coming in, 2 ounces over the weight. It was reported to me by Lawrence Lustig, who is a very famous photographer, Junior wasn't even sweating at the end of the fight. Dehydration. These rules are in place to save my son, to save the lives of fighters. Unfortunately, the reporters, the journalists are not doing their job. They're not holding them to account. Gareth Davis, do your job. Simon Jordan, you speak on boxing, do your job. You are not credible if you let these things happen. What you are is...
Chris Eubank Sr. has been outspoken about the rematch, voicing serious concerns over how the fight is being organized and the risks it poses to his son. His main worry revolves around the weight at which the bout is set and the potential health implications for Eubank Jr. Their first fight was at a catch weight of 157 pounds, forcing his son to drop 3 pounds below his normal middleweight limit. Eubank Sr. has repeatedly highlighted the dangers of such weight cuts, stressing the physical strain they place on a fighter and the heightened risk of injury. He's also criticized the promoters, accusing them of putting financial gain above fighter safety.
You better watch out, dreadlocks. You better watch out, because we are come for you. Oh, sorry. It's my mother's tongue again. It comes through. You'd better watch out, because we're not playing. We're real, and we are a terror. And the procedure will be parliamentary.
Veteran trainer and analyst Teddy Atlas shared his thoughts ahead of the Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn rematch, breaking down their first fight and what's at stake this time. Atlas described their initial encounter as an iconic clash, filled with animosity, legacy, and drama that elevated it far beyond a typical matchup. He praised the fight's deep-rooted bad blood and the added intrigue from their father's historic rivalry, calling it a must-watch banger for fans. Atlas highlighted the strengths of both fighters, Eubank Jr.'s slick counters and technical skill, and Benn's relentless pressure and aggression, noting that the fight delivered on all fronts. In his view, the bout had all the ingredients of classic boxing theater, combining narrative, drama, and spectacle into a truly memorable showdown.
I've go back and watch my breakdown of that fight afterwards, of my synopsis of the fight, my review of the fight. I couldn't have been more complimentary or excited, and nor shouldn't I have been. Matter of fact, as excited and as complimentary as I was about those two warriors, those two men that shared the ring that night, I could have went even further, which I don't know if I could have, but nobody could have said, oh, that's too much, Teddy, because nothing was too complimentary. Nothing would have been too much on the positive side about how iconic, how historic that fight was. A fight that people had their doubts if it could ever live up to the hype, because it was built about their fathers. It was built about the history of their fathers, two tremendous fighters over in the UK. It was built about the bad blood. You just talked about it, the egg in the face by Eubank to Benn, the whole thing. And it lived up to it. That doesn't happen too often. It surpassed it. To answer your question, can it live up to? I don't think it can. I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible. I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong. But I don't know if it's possible. But I will tell you this. They left a lot of themselves. That was a war. Forget about how magnificent it was, how great it was for the sport, how great it was for the fans. But that was a damaging fight. That was a
Atlas highlighted that Eubank Jr. possesses all the tools: sharp hand speed, strong counterpunching, and the ability to control the fight from the outside. At the same time, he praised Benn's aggressive approach, noting that when the 28-year-old applies pressure intelligently inside, he can be a dangerous force. Atlas suggested that the rematch could hinge on whether Benn can consistently pressure Eubank Jr. and take away his space. Eubank Jr., meanwhile, must remain disciplined and avoid being drawn into an inside battle on Benn's terms. Atlas believes that for the upcoming fight, Benn has more to prove than ever. He explained that Benn enters the ring with the added pressure to adapt, impose his style, and avenge his previous loss. If Benn executes a smart strategy, controlling the pace and forcing Eubank Jr. into uncomfortable exchanges, his aggression and determination could give him the edge. Confident in Benn's motivation, Atlas ultimately picked him to win this time, emphasizing the hunger and focus he brings to the rematch.
Say that Eubank had to prove more than Benn. Benn was undefeated, yes. Eubank had been stopped. Eubank had been beaten. Eubank, a lot of people said, you talk like your father, you promote like your father, but you're not your father. You know, when push comes to shove, you're not your father. He had a lot to prove. He had a lot to prove, and he proved it. He proved it. And one other thing. He had a falling out with his father. His father was worried about him making a weight. It could hurt him. He could get hurt. And they didn't talk. And the father wasn't going to come to the fight. And what happened? Well, the father behaved like a father. The father showed up. He came to the fight. And he was there for his son. Wow. What a boost that was. He's not going to have that this time, bud. He had that. What a boost. Nobody knew that was going to be in the cards. Nobody knew that was written into the script. He showed up and he gave that boost to his son. That ain't happening this time. It's been done already. I think Eubank had a lot to prove. I think he proved it. I think he had a lot to prove to the fans, to himself, and to his father. I think he wanted to win the love and respect and approval of the father. He did. And that's powerful. He don't have that this time. Maybe he's satisfied a little bit. Maybe. Because he did that already. Benn has more to prove to.
Backing up Atlas's analysis, British middleweight contender Hamza Shiraz expressed confidence in Conor Benn's chances. He believes Benn's aggressive, high-pressure style could be the key to neutralizing Eubank Jr.'s advantages. Shiraz's perspective emphasizes the potential effectiveness of relentless aggression, suggesting that consistent pressure might be enough to overcome the size difference between the fighters.
Won't get the better of Eubank?
I think Conor Benn beats Eubank, but I kind of need Eubank to win. Do you know what I mean? For myself, from a selfish perspective, I need him to win.
Do you want to fight him?
Yeah, exactly.
Would it be the first defence if you win that, or when you win that WBC title? Is that someone that you would choose?
100%. 100%. As long as obviously everyone's okay with it, it'd be that. I mean, why not? It'd be the biggest fight for me next in boxing, and I haven't got long left in the 160-pound division, so it's not me going on about taking certain defences.
Thanks for watching Ring Pulse. Hit the like button, smash the subscribe, and stay tuned for more hard-hitting boxing action.